stuff, Oprah, Dr. Phil, every time that plays, I get a royalty, and I'm sleeping. They're like girlfriends, you know, I can take as many as I like out and not get hassled by the other one.
In partnership with Australian Institute of Music and Hunting with Pixels.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about your gear.
Yeah.
So I know that would have changed over time.
It's constantly changing,
but
yeah.
What's your go-to toolkit that you take around with you? So let's say, let's do now.
Okay.
And then,
I'll tell you what's in the car now.
Yeah, great.
Okay, I have 2 amplifiers.
Someone's going to go
Yeah,
steal it.
someone's going to steal it. I've got 2 amplifier heads.
Yeah.
I've got the H&K head, which looks after everything. I've got and I usually have 2 of those in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I also have the new Axifx 2, which is the digital modelling amp. So that's, you know, for bedroom studios, etc. And I'm finding I'm using that a lot more now too. And it does everything. I'm
Right.
sponsored by them, and that's Fractal audio thing. I have, I've just got the one guitar with me now, but I just dropped 4 guitars at home. I have my quad box, the 212 box, the effects rack with my live rig, with a floor pedal board, and then in the back seat I've got a Boss effects unit, and I've got a whole bunch of little pedals, like distortion pedals, and my cigarette ashtrays full of picks. So I carry everything with me. I've got to,
That's
you know,
a
you've
lot.
got to be ready. Well, I mean, and that's a habit from the days of, are you available now?
Okay.
You know, so it's always there.
You're good to go at any.
Yeah, at any time.
Yeah.
My main, I usually take about 4 guitars to a gig, and my main one is my Ibanez Gem, which is a 1989 Ibanez Gem that I bought around about the 90s, and it's been my main guitar for so long, and it's beaten up, it's buggered, but it's the most versatile guitar that I have. People laugh at it.
I can't think why, because it does everything well.
It does everything really well for me, anyway. I've got, as I say, I've got about 50 guitars, so I can pick from anything. I usually take Strat, and a Les Paul. I'm loving Les Pauls at the moment. I've just bought another 2, so that's 4. So I get the Gem, the Strat, the Les Paul, or the SG, and then either a Telecaster or another Strat. So, and again, I do this because I love them. You know, they're like girlfriends. You know, I can take as many as I like out and not get hassled by the other one.
I was going to feel neglected.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I love them all, and that's probably my main thing. I need to have, that Gem's if I'm only allowed to take one guitar on a plane, it's the Gem.
Okay.
You know.
So just on the career advice side of things, you do lots of different things, income streams, and I know you do instrumental music and a bunch of things like that.
That's been amazing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me that a few years ago.
Yeah.
What made you explore that side of things, and was that a conscious business decision, or was that just you being creative and having to madly create anything and everything, or was it a conscious decision?
Well, it's actually a guy that liked my playing was the head of Zomba in Australia.
Oh, okay.
Stuart Livingston, and he still does the sort of thing, but in a different scale now. Zomba's no more. But what he did was he really liked me, liked my playing. He loved what I did, and he'd see me play everywhere. And he said, have you ever written anything? And I said, yeah, I'm writing all the time. You know, he said, but what about instrumental stuff? If I give you a guideline of what we want, would you be interested? I said, yeah, absolutely. So I did about a dozen albums. And they were dozen albums.
Wow.
And they were over 2 areas. And I first started doing like rock guitar stuff, and that was for mostly sports programs. So it still gets used today, and this is the amazing thing about it. Then we're talking about late 80s. So the sports stuff, rock guitar, focused on that, and it was like Satriani and all that sort of style, you know, a heavy rhythm section with a strong melody. And what you would do is you would do cut downs from 2:30 to a minute to 30 seconds to 15 seconds and then 6 seconds. So you try and write that you could cut that way. And I also focused on acoustic guitar stuff for lifestyle programs. The rock stuff kind of dates, from where it was back in the 80s, although in Japan they still love it.
Yeah.
You know, so I see a lot of my stuff coming from Europe and Japan.
Sure.
But the acoustic guitar stuff will just go on forever. And I did a series called Guitar in the Raw. And I hear my stuff, Oprah, Dr. Phil, all that stuff, all the time.
Brilliant.
So it's been really, really wonderful for me. And you've got to remember, if that gets played in one place, it syndicates all over the world. Every time that plays, I get a royalty. And I'm sleeping.
Was that the birth of the artist around that time when you were sort of financially?
Probably. I mean, also with the fact that I was writing all these instrumental pieces, you know, it was a great time. And dollars galore, you know. As I say, it still works for me now. I get a royalty check all the time, and it's a massive, well, it's not massive, but it's, you know, I'm doing okay out of it.
Well,
and it's
longevity.
one of the, and I sit down and I sleep and I'm making all this money. So yes, that's another form of income that is really important. You write a lot. It's very, very important to write. And I think that, you know, I see a lot of players, and people still, you know, ask me for a lot of advice, and they're just players. I think you've got to get into the creative side. You've got to create and you've got to write. One of the, you know, the other thing is if you're not a great writer, write with other people. One of the best things I ever did was write with a girl that sold our songs to Tony Perrin. And Tony Perrin was the E Street performer, and then she did Australia's Home Videos, whatever it was. And she had a hit with this. It wasn't number one, but it got up to 5, up to number 5's, the 5's area. And it made me so much money. And I wasn't a great writer back then, but because I wrote with somebody else, we figured it out together. And then she went and did all the work. You know, so you never know what's going to happen. If you write with everyone, I do it all the time. And I'm really happy to write with anybody. You know, so it's about what you put in. You never know what's going to come out.
So when did you start playing guitar? Let's talk about this, man, because I've seen some wonderful photos of you holding that little acoustic guitar. I mean, when did it all start?
That was a Riviera, not Rivera, a Riviera. I started playing when I was 9 years old. My brother and I played tennis, yeah, that's right. And then I think I must have said to Mum I wanted a guitar, and so she bought us both a $20 guitar. She said, but you're only getting them if you take lessons. And so there was a guy up the road, 2 blocks away. His name was John Williams. Classic. And he taught us for 6 months.
Yeah. And
And then Mum and Dad said, look, we can't afford both. Choose one or the other. I chose guitar and Tony chose tennis. But I did about a year and a half by myself, and I just loved it, you know, playing Carpenters and single note lines. And then Mum saw that I was really into it, so she got me over to a place at Rockdale. It was a music school, Brandman's Music School, Rockdale. And from there, I had a couple of teachers, and then I met one very, very inspirational teacher, and that was Vince Lombardo. And he's still a great teacher these days. He still plays and performs, and he's an amazing musician. But he kind of introduced me from just playing, reading, you know, Yankee Doodle, into Santana and Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin and all the cool things that are around those days. So he was very, very inspirational and very, very a major force in what became me, I think. So was very lucky in those days to have somebody like that. Also my teacher at school, you know, we had a small music class, and most of the guys, you know, they were okay. It was probably about 11 people, and they could play a bit of music and do all that. But my teacher, John Leonard was his name, he saw something in me. And so he was a great encouragement. I think that was again, you know, once you've got that stuff behind you, it's limitless. You can do anything.